Friends, I Dr.Ashwin Dobariya welcomes you to Programming in C video series. In this practical video, we will discuss one program that is sum of first and last digit of input number. Actually, in this program, we have to input one number of 3 digits and we have to calculate the sum of first number and last number. So how we can do it? Let's see. The definition is C program to calculate sum for first and the last digit of a number. Here at the initial stage, because we are in the initial stage, so here we will fix only the 3 digits number we will input over here. At the later stage we can make this program general. General means you can input any number of digits. Suppose here 3 digit number means the number should have only 3 digits. At the later stage we can say you can input 5 digit number also, 7 digit number also, or 2 digit also. So the main the objective of this program is how we can think a logic of this program. So before that, let's see what should be the input and what should be the output of this program. So as we discussed in a previous video, that how you can start the thinking of a logic of any program. So first you have to think about one demo input value, and according to that what should be the output. So suppose if we input 523, then here in this number 5 is the first digit and 3 is the last digits. So we have to display the sum of 5 plus 3. So 5 plus 3 and output should be a 8. Let's discuss another example. If input number is 846, then 8 is the first digit, 6 is the last digit. Then the output should be 8 plus 6, 14. So this is the definition of the C program. Now see friends, one advice I am giving over here is this is our initial stage of the C program. Whenever you think about any C program logic, then you always start thinking with certain dummy value, right? So here these are the two examples. Now let's see how we can think about the detailed logic of these programs. So here generally we will think at 3 steps. First steps, suppose our input value is one number 523. So this is our input value, and accordingly we have to also think about the number of variables that we required in this program. So one variable will declare for input value, suppose n. So 523, this is our first steps in our program. We have to give one number as a input, and as you know that how we can give an input number to our program using printf scanf functions, right? Once we input a number, then the actual logic. So in the second step we have to think about the logic. Now here how we can separate the first digit and how we can separate the last digit. So for that, here we require another 2 variables. Suppose f means first, l means last, and our input number is 523. Now if we want to separate the first digits out of 3 digits, then if we divide by 100, then as per the mathematical rules we can say the output of this is 5.23. But here the division operation is performed on 2 different integer value. Now here one rules of programming that you have to remember, and I will also explain with the practicals in a Turbo C. One rules means if you perform a division operation on 2 integer, then the output value is also integer. We know that as per the mathematical norms the output of this means 5.23, but 5.23 means what? 5.23 which will generate the point value, but here both the values 523 and 100 both are integer. So integer will generate only integer value. So 5.23 it will ignore, or you can say skip 0.23. Then here the answer is only 5, right? So 5 only will be stored over here in f. Another important thing is whenever you separate the last digit of any number, then modulus operator, the use of modulus operator we already discussed in the operators. So the modulus always return the remainder. right? And whenever you divide any number with 10 value, then it always remainder is the last value, and here we require the last value. So when any number is divided by 10 and if you return a remainder, then remainder is always a last digit. That is another mathematical rules here you have to remember. So here this is our main logic, how we can separate the first digit, how we can separate the last digit. Once it's stored over here, then our last stage is we have to calculate sum. So f plus l, so it will calculate 8, and 8 should be the output of these programs. So here if we want to write a programs, then see here integer, here we have declared all these variable as a integer data type, and as we already discussed that there are 3 basic data type in C language. If you want to store a decimal value only without point, right, then we declare generally that variable as a integer. It means integer variable store only number without decimal points. But suppose if you want to store a decimal value means point value 5.2, 3.5 like that, then we have to declare these variable as a float. So float is the another basic data type, and third is the character, where we want to store a character in a variables. But mostly in number we will use either integer or a float. Now here as I told you that f is equal to 523 divided by 100. So here 523 is also integer number, 100 is also integer number, and division operation. So actual answer as per mathematics 5.23. But here f is also declared as an integer and both number as integer. So the output of these expression is integer. So integer is 5.23. So integer means only the value before points, right? So 0.23 will be ignored. So it will store only 5 in the f. Similarly here L, if we divide any number with 10 and if we want to return a remainder, then remainder is written with the help of modulus operators, right? So it returns the 3 over here. So modulus operator always return a remainder, and if any number is divisible by 10, divide by 10, then it always return the last digit. So now onwards, whenever you require to separate last digit, you always divide that always perform a modulus operation with 10. Now let's see this actual program in a Turbo C. Now before we move to the actual program, let's explain the concept of the output of integer variables, integer float variables and all, right? So here I have declared 2 variables, integer x and float y. We know that here x will be stored only a value like 4, 56, 67, 78 without decimal points, right? So this is known as an integer value. Floating means what? Which will store 1.2, 5.6 kind like this. So the float variable store the decimal value, right? This is just for your understanding. Yeah, and then clear screen. The major part is over here. Now see, x is declared as an integer. So x is integer. Now here I have used the constant value just for understanding, right? So 5 is integer value, 2 is also integer value, and we are performing a division operation. And friends, when we perform a division operation, generally the value is in a decimal point, always in a floating way. So as per mathematics, 5 upon 2 means the actual answer is 2.5, right? But here you have to remember the norms, right? Norms is like if both the operand, now we know that what is operand. Operand means a variable or a value, right? So if both the operands are integer, right, then output is always integer. But if one operand is integer and another is float, then output is a float, right? So one of the operand is float, then and then this expression generate the float value. Now here see, we know that 5 upon 2, actually as per our mathematic norms, answer should be 2.5. But 5 and 2 both are integer, then what will happen? It will ignore the decimal value. So the output of this statement is only 2, and 2 will be stored into x. After that we will display the value of x over here. Now Here x is declared integer, so x can be stored the integer value. Now here say the same expression I am using in the another statement, but here the difference is whatever output is generated by this expression, it will be stored into y, and y is declared as a float, right? So now what happened? First we think about what is the output of this 5 upon 2. Again, as per our norms, it's a 2.5 as a mathematic. Actual answer is 2.5, but 5 upon 2 both are integer, then this expression will ignore the decimal point, so only 2 will be there. So this statement generate 2, but now these 2 we are storing into the floating variable. Floating variable means y. Then it will not store only 2, but it will store like 2.00, right? So here if we execute this program, right, then see x is integer, so it display only 2, and y is float, so it display 2.0, but it doesn't display the 2.5. What is the reason? Because 5 is integer, 2 is integer, so instead of 2.5 it will generate only 2. Now see, if I convert any one value in a float, suppose 2.0, so now what happened over here? Here 5 is integer, 2.0 is a float, and as I told you that if one operand is integer, another is float, then output will be generated in a float. Now 5 upon 2 as per mathematics 2.5, then say again it will generate 2.5 because one operand is integer, another is a float, and 2.5 again stored into float, right? Then it will display the same value. So here if I execute this program, now see, now it gives a 2.5. Now if the same thing if I give over here 2.0, what will happen? Again the same rules, 5 upon 2. Actual answer is 2.5, right? Even one is integer, another is float, so answer is also a 2.5, but 2.5 will not be stored into integer, because integer variable only store a value without decimal. So again it will ignore the 0.5, so it will store only 2. Now see, if I run this program, then again x value is 2 because x is declared as a integer. So here two rules you have to remember. One is, what is the data type of operands? If both operands are integer, then output is always integer. Then it also affects to where you are storing your value, right? If it is in integer, then it will give only integer. If it is in a float, then it gives the float. So this is the overall concept. Just for your understanding, I have mentioned over here. Now I am keeping this portion in a comment because this is not our actual program. Now our actual program start from here. So here in this program, how many variables we require? So in that we have to provide one number. So for number we declare n. Then out of that number we have to separate first number. Then we declare another variable f. Then last number we have to separate. Then l is another variable, and we want to calculate sum. So overall in this program we require total 4 variables. So whenever you start to write any program, first you have to think about how many variables you require to perform this program. Once you identify the variable, then you have to think about the data type of that variable. And how will you decide the data type? Depending on the value to be stored in this variable. So in our programs here it will store only a number without decimal point. So we have declared all variable as a integer. After that, clear screen, which clear the old output. Then first we'll ask one number to the user. Okay, enter any number of 3 digits only, right? Because this is the boundary of this program. We will not input more than 3 digit number. And suppose if I input 125, then 125 will be stored using scanf function in a n variables. Now how we can, suppose if I input 125 over here, 125, so n value is 125. Now here 125 divide by 100, what happened? 125 divided by 100, it means 1.25. But we already seen that here n is also integer, 100 is also integer. Then output of this expression is not 1.25, but it will return only integer part. So the output of this statement is only 1. and 1 will be stored into F, right? So here say we have separated the first digit. Next, 125 modulus 10, as we discussed that when we divide any number with 10 and if we use a modulus, it means it return a remainder, and remainder is always a last digit when we divide any number with 10, right? So here last digit is 5, then L value is 5 over here. So F value is 1 plus 5, so it becomes 6, right? And here we will display first digits percentage df, last digit percentage dl, then we will display the sum of that. If I run these programs, right, and if I input 125 for example, then see first digit is 1, last digit is 5, and sum of digit is 6. Similarly, if I input another number of 3 digit like 6, 8, 9, right, then first is 6, last is 9, and 120 and 15 is the sum. So here friends, in this program you have to learn this concept of the program, right? Again I repeat in a short, whenever you perform a division operation, at that time you have to also think about the data type of operands. Operand means the value or a variable on which you are performing the division operation. If both the operands are integer, then output will generate an integer. If one of the operand is float, then output will be a float. Once the output is generated, then another important thing is in what type of variable you are storing this value. If it is integer, then it will store only integer part. If it is a float data type variables, then it will store the floating value. So this is the concept you have to learn in this, and I have also uploaded these C programs in the description part of this video, so you can also download this code in your laptop and a desktop, and you can perform this program for your practice point of view. So in this video description part, I have mentioned the other theory and practical programs video links also for your reference. So please friend, like this video and share with your friends, and to receive the updates of upcoming video, subscribe this videos channel. And in next videos we will again discuss the another programs, that is C program to calculate the simple interest, and how we can think about the logic. That we'll discuss in the next video. Thank you very much.